Good evening from Washington, D.C., and thank you to those of you joining us from around the world for news from a Catholic perspective. I'm Lauren Ashburn. Go, Congress, go! President Trump tweeting that message to lawmakers as he makes a bipartisan push for support on tax reform. How's he doing it? Dinners and deal-making with Democrats. Correspondent Mark Irons reports from the White House. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Lauren. President Trump is having dinner tonight with Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer and House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi. They'll be talking about the legislative agenda, specifically tax reform. It's the latest attempt by the Republican president to work with his adversaries.
I'm pleased to welcome this bipartisan group.
The president and a bipartisan group of moderate members of Congress huddled today. His message to them, the need for tax reform.
That is pro-jobs, pro-growth, pro-family, and pro-American. It's very simple.
Today's event at the White House included 8 Democrat lawmakers. It's the latest example of Trump's bipartisan push. Last night, Trump dined with Republican and Democrat senators in the Blue Room. The focus, again, the tax overhaul. The White House is calling the meeting highly productive, and one Democrat who was there agrees.
They were very, very accommodating and understanding where we were all coming from. Heidi was there. Joe Donnelly was there. Everybody had input. John Thune was there, and we had Pat Toomey was there, Warren Hatch. It was just a great meeting.
President Trump prides himself on being a deal maker.
He'll cut a deal to get it done.
Steve Bell, a policy expert in Washington, says there are many opposing views on Capitol Hill on tax reform. But Bell says the president could be effective in reaching across the aisle.
Going to Chuck Schumer, whom I think may become one of the most important members of Congress right now, I think that was the right thing to do. But he is going to have to make compromises that will irritate a lot of people in both the Senate Republican and House Republican caucuses.
The president said today that he is also seeking bipartisanship on infrastructure and DACA, the program that kept 800,000 young undocumented immigrants from deportation. The president said we don't want to forget about DACA. Lauren.
Mark, I was watching today as the White House press secretary made a provocative comment comparing Donald Trump's bipartisan efforts to date with President Obama's.
That's right. Sarah Sanders said that President Trump has done more for bipartisanship in the last 8 days than former President Obama did in 8 years.
Correspondent Mark Irons at the White House. Thank you, Mark.